You can leave that because when you put the screen on, it's gonna what you call it anyway. It's gonna cover my face. It's not gonna cover my. It's not gonna cover both of me. Derek, what is you doing? I'm not hearing anything. Why am I not hearing anything? I can't hear. I not. What are we doing? Are we live?
What up, y'all? Candy Conversation, and this is Kyra's doing her own this is theater on stage featuring Kyra not knowing what the heck she's doing. But we are
I
here.
didn't see anything. I didn't even see the opening. Nothing.
We are here and we getting ready to get this conversation started. How you doing, Kyra, today?
Not very well, as you can see, because
All
I don't know
discombobulated?
what's going on. I am discombobulated, but did you do the what you call it? Did you do the intro?
Yeah. Everything
No.
what are you talking about? Why are we
Okay.
okay. Can we start the show?
The show started obviously. Well, anyway, hello everybody. Welcome to Get the Conversations. I am your host Kyra, and obviously I'm having technical difficulties over here. So we're just gonna get the topic up, popping, and going. Um, Today's topic is who gets more grace in society, men or women? And I think it's both. I think that we get grace um, for certain things, and men get grace for certain things. Not everything, but certain things. So we are going to get into this. I don't know, spicy conversation and see where it leads us. I know there are plenty and many ways in different situations where women are given grace versus where men are given grace. But we're gonna jump into a bunch of different scenarios today, so we could touch on a little bit of like everything, and we're gonna get the party started. With first, what is the definition of grace? And grace is where you make room for a mistake and you don't have to be defined by your mistake. Society will look at your worst moment and say, you're human, you could do better, instead of you're a terrible person, you're canceled, you're weak, all the negative stuff that comes with not giving grace to another individual, man or woman. But first, let's see. Derek, who do you think is more grace, men or women?
Oh gosh, this is such a loaded question. This is such a loaded question. Um, Grace is given to grace is given to the vulnerable. Who do we view as being vulnerable? Children, the less fortunate. Um, Grace is often given to those type of situations, depending on, as long as you're not doing anything that falls on in front of somebody else's front door. But to say that it's a man or woman thing, um, it's hard to have that conversation because, as you say, um you can find you can find grace in society happening on both sides. Now, who is more understood? I think women are more understood in society than men. So therefore, there are more things that are made available to them than what's available made available to men.
More things made available to us, like what?
Women are resource happy. There are more resources that are available to women than the resources that are available to the men.
Okay, I can agree with that.
I'm glad.
Okay, but when you say grace is given to the vulnerable, aren't we all vulnerable at some point?
No,
So grace
because
should be given to everyone, correct?
nope. Vulnerable, meaning because in society, it's based off of societal norms, and how people think or what people think of a certain group. That's what we say. That's what I mean by vulnerability and vulnerable. Because if they feel that a man should be strong and silent, and he should protect, and he should uh, be the breadwinner, he should do all these things. Um, of all those things that are listed, then you don't hear them saying being vulnerable. Even when it comes down to emotional stability,
Hey,
you still
honey.
don't hear you don't hear much of anybody saying, "Oh, this was a strong man because of his vulnerability." Society doesn't really give a space for vulnerability in men,
So you're
unless
saying
you
that
are a child.
society does not give men grace to be emotionally fragile. Fragile. I say fragile, but emotionally fragile, like the whole, I guess when men are being vulnerable or emotional, they're told things like, man up and stuff like that.
Right. The worst thing you can see, I've seen it so many times as an educator. Worst thing a parent, an untrained parent, or unwoke parent could see is a little boy crying. If for some reason it angers certain parents. It angers some parents to the extent to see a boy cry. It's not about why they're crying or anything else. It's just the fact that society has paged us to be strong, and tears is a sign of weakness.
hmm I
So the
could,
only time grace is extended, at the point of weakness, is when said people have already been awakened to societal norms and have seen, okay, these norms need to be changed. But anybody who's in agreement with what societal norms look like, they will always be a a line drawn in the sand of vulnerability slash weakness, and none of those. And if a man falls into that spot or into that category, they the respect level is lessened greatly.
All right. So if you, let's say, okay, so let's flip the coin, right? And when when women are emotional or they have a breakdown, they're crying, they do have a support system. We have a Women do have a very big support system, right? So it's like, okay, you can take a mental day, you go to therapy, call your girlfriends, and if a man does it, he's weak. But if you flip the coin, when women are expressive,
Right.
do they get grief, or is it like, oh, they're angry and they're being, they're too emotional and you know all of that? But if a dude do it, it's more like he's being assertive, he's being passionate about what he's saying. But if we do it, we we're emotional creatures, because we're deemed to be emotional creatures.
I think
So isn't it kind of like the same thing?
I think it depends on the 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 way the way it's being expressed. I think you can find women who are assertive and they express themselves assertively, which would not be mistaken for anything other than being assertive. Um, I lost my thought.
But if women are being assertive, we're either masculine
Right.
or which, so we don't, so I think to me it's like the same thing, because we don't get that same grace if we're being assertive,
You
because
don't
then we're
need.
called masculine or we're being emotional. Sometimes women do have to be assertive depending on the place. It doesn't always mean that you have to be assertive in the home. If Even if you're being assertive at work, yes, we're still deemed being, we have masculine energy, but we're just trying to get our point across the same way you're getting your point across. So it's kind of like the same, or are we just supposed to like be quiet, let y'all speak, and then we come in afterwards? Like, I'm just kind of not, because I think in both sexes, I think that it's the same thing. We don't get grace when we're being assertive, but men do. I honestly think it's the same, because if a man can be assertive, then a woman can be assertive if she's trying to get a point across. It just all depends. I know it depends on tone and
Right.
who,
And
and
I
things
think
of that nature.
that's where the difference comes in from, because assertiveness comes greatly from tone, and you give off and when women give off can be when women come in being assertive, it you have to be able to draw a line in the sand, because it can get blurred really quickly between being assertive and or or fussing. And
Okay.
if you are fussing, then people are less likely to offer you anything, their attention, their grace, anything, because nobody wants to hear fussing. So you have to have very good emotional control to be able to express yourself freely with good control over your uh I lost my word again. But you got to have you have to have good control over your vocabulary and your vocal tones and things like that, so that people understand you're being assertive and that you're not fussing or being overly emotional.
Yeah, I do too. I agree. Ivory says, I believe men and women have a balance of grace. I do. I believe that men and
I think
women
it's all
have a balance of
situational.
grace as well.
I think it's all situational. We can't say that men and women have a balance of grace without putting in there that is a situational thing, because there are some
I,
arenas where a man will not find grace but a woman will thrive in it, and vice versa.
I do think that some things are situational when it comes to men and women, but I think for the most part, the ma- the majority of it, I think it's kind of balanced.
No, ma'am.
Um,
I disagree greatly.
of course you do because you're a man.
No,
Um,
but I'm just saying, like I said, when you have when society thrives off of making the lives of women easier, you can't say that society thrives to make the lives of men easier. There will be a balance. There will be a fun balance. There will be a even balance there if that was true.
okay, so I get the part of where you say that they make it easier for women. And I understand that part. And I feel like the only reason why I feel like women have more resources than what they give to men is because they look at, especially when you're like a parent and you're, especially in those type of circumstances, you have hellified resources. But because women are known to be the domestic ones, whereas men are known to be, the providers and they can make way for themselves. Where we're more supposed to be treated like we're the damsel in distress and we need all of this help.
Okay, so
But
let's do.
now,
I'm
go ahead.
sorry.
Nope,
So
go ahead.
let's do a self check, right? So answer this question for me, right? Who gets comfort first? Um, who do you think will get comforted first when life starts to fall apart?
What do you mean? Like, who's gonna get the help when
Who
what?
who's
Like,
gonna get
find it in your
who's gonna
home?
get all those things? Who's gonna get comforted? Who's gonna be found the resources and all that stuff when life starts to fall apart?
A woman.
Okay. What about um uh who's expected to just deal with it?
I think that's both.
So you really think that women are expected to just deal with it? No. Women
Yeah,
women are
because
expected women are expected to make a way because they always make a way. They'll figure it out, but they're not expected to just deal with it. Because if they were expected to just deal with it, then you we wouldn't even have a need for the resources that we have.
those okay, so first of all we have to look at the resources and in what ways those resources benefit women, right? Because you have some resources, yes, that benefit mothers and children, and then you have some resources that benefit both man and woman.
Like what
when
resources?
things start to when things start to fall apart, men can get the same resources as women do when it comes to finances, should I say finances. Because you do have some men that are on public assistance and that do get food stamps and things of that nature. Just like it's
Yes, but it's
available, yes, it's available to you. Now it's a choice whether or not you choose to take it or not.
hold on, hold on,
But you
hold on,
can't say that it's not there.
hold on, hold on, hold on. It is easier for a woman to get on welfare. It's easier for a woman to get food stamps. It's easier for a
If you
woman.
have children,
Hold on.
it
It's
no,
easy.
if you have children,
It
we
is
have to be
easier. It is easier for a woman to get the resources than it is for a man to get, and it has nothing to do with pride. You don't. It has nothing to do with a man decided not to get it.
okay.
It's just he said. It just said it's easier for it to be gotten. You can. A woman can. A woman can. A woman can literally uh be homeless and find some place to go quicker than a man who is homeless. Society hearts even society hearts open up quicker for a woman. The same way as a woman can knock on a door and get help, a random door, just run down the street and knock on a door, and somebody will open a door for a woman before they open the door for a man knocking on the door asking for the same help.
Okay. What I'm gonna say is this: in some in certain aspects, with what you're saying, it could be true.
That's what I said. It's
But
situational.
when it is situational, because when we talking about resources for women, all women can get financial assistance. All women can get food stamps.
That is untrue.
Only that is not untrue.
That is so untrue.
That is not untrue because we have to go through the same. We have to the same application that everybody has to fill out. That's the same application everybody got to fill out. If me, if I was to go apply for financial assistance, I will not get it.
Let me ask.
If I was to go apply for food stamps, and this is a fact where I have applied and I still didn't get it.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. How many places? How many places can a woman go and get access to those resources compared to how many places a man can go and get access to those resources?
What do you mean? How many places for financial assistance is one place to go? You have to you either it's two choices. You either apply to one online or you gotta go downtown and get it done.
No, ma'am.
That's
You can
it.
go. No, ma'am. Women can go. Women can go to a shelter. Any shelter
You
gives.
okay for shelter, yes, you can get it through a shelter, but you have to it's still certain things that you still have to do the same way a man does. A woman
No, I'm
still has to
saying the
sit in the
access. I'm not talking about the process. The access, and the access says a lot because you can go to any, you can go to any shelter, Eva's Village, uh,
hmm
the what's that, the Haven or whatever it's called, any
hmm
shelter you can go to and get access to these things. Men have only two places. They can go downtown or they can go to
No, a man could go into a shelter as well and get the same access.
how many shelters are there for men to go to?
That I can't tell you. I would actually have to look it up.
Right,
But
but off the
there
top of your
are
head,
men's shelters.
off the
I
top of
don't
your
know.
head, that's the whole point. That's what I'm trying to ask.
Okay, so let me think, because when I had a person who had to go to a shelter in Patterson, it was, I want to say maybe five or six.
Now, how many shelter how many shelters for women and children?
I don't know. Um, I don't know. I don't think it's that many though. Not here. Not where we live. I don't think it's that many. I think it's about the same amount.
Honestly,
Yeah, I think it's about the same amount. I mean, I could look it up, but I do believe it's about the same. I do believe it's about the same amount.
You sure?
So I'm looking it up right now. It's seven. It's seven. So it's really is the resources are the same.
No, ma'am.
I only see seven.
It says, I looked up in New Jersey alone, there are significantly more shelters and house programs geared towards women with children and families than there are shelters specifically dedicated to men. However, the picture is more complicated than just more women's shelters than men's shelters. Here's the breakdown. Right, you got women and family shelters that include domestic violence shelters, family shelters, transitional housing for mothers and children, emergency housing for women fleeing abuse, programs prioritizing pregnant women and children, right? You got
Okay.
those of those types of homes, right? So can we say
I think you went black.
I went black, I'm
Hmm.
brown. Hello? Of those homes, of those types of homes that I just said, right? So are you telling me that they're not men who are fleeing from being abused?
I'm pretty sure it's men out here that's getting abused by women.
Right, but they're not programs or resources for those type of for that type of situation.
They don't have um what do you call it? They don't have that type of assistance when they go into a men's shelter. I'm familiar with it, so I wouldn't know.
Okay,
But
so it
I'm
says
gonna get
fewer.
into.
It says that
I
there are
don't.
shelters. There are shelters for men, but fewer are exclusively for men. Many are larger dormitory style facilities. Single men are more likely
Hmm.
to single men are more likely to remain unsheltered. Funding and public sympathy often prioritizes families and children.
Hmm. That's
So
it.
let's do some facts, right? Men make up the majority of the homeless population.
Hmm.
Women with children are more likely to qualify for protected family housing programs. Single
Absolutely.
homeless men are more likely to live on the street or in the overcrowded shelters. Some states
Okay.
and federal funding streams specifically prioritize domestic violence survivors, children, pregnant women, and family.
Hmm.
And for that reason, that money creates more family woman centered beds, even though homeless men outnumber homeless women overall. You know
You're
why?
dark again.
Because you wait, what I said, yeah. So even though there are more uh homeless men than there are homeless women, because simply a woman, society itself heart softens for a woman in a damsel in distress. A woman can get a phone. You make a phone call. We can put on Facebook. Hey, I got a woman who doesn't have any place to live and and needs help, and you can get 40 hits immediately. Call here, call there, call here, call there. You'll get people say, oh, you know what? I got an extra bedroom and they need some place to sleep tonight. I can do the same thing for a man, and that bad boy will get crickets.
No, because
Crickets.
I've seen those type of posts on social media, and they get the same response
They don't
because
get the same
nobody doesn't want to.
response.
They get the same response. People are commenting, telling them where to reach out to. Even not even well, we all know I live in Patterson, but they even tell them stuff for Essex County because Essex County has a lot more resources than Passaic County does for some particular reason.
Un-
But it is
Unfortunately,
it is
what
what
I'm
it
saying
is.
is it. But that's what I'm saying. So when we talk about grace, let's even for let's go to the other side because family people hearts go out for families and children, right? If I
Absolutely. Because nobody wants to see a family on the street.
but you know what's crazy though? You say a family on the street, it is more likely for that family that is a man, a mother, a father, and children is more likely for them to go without help because the father is there compared to if it was a mother and child.
Now that I can agree with.
So when we say who gets more grace in society, I say when I stand and say it's situational, it's very strong on the situational side. Yes, there are women, but let's jump on the other angle, right? So you have a woman who you have a woman who uh
I'm here. I'll be right back. I'm here though. I hear you.
you have a woman who quote unquote may, let's say, takes a bottle and bust somebody in the side of the head, right? Took a bottle, bang, smashed it on his head.
Okay.
Society would say, what did he do to deserve that? He must have did something to deserve that. Let's flip it. A man picks up the same bottle, bang, smashes it over her head. He needs to be thrown under the jail.
Y'all be so dramatic.
He needs to
Um,
be put under the jail. He's not a real man. I can't respect someone that does that. I can't. There's never a question of what did she do. There's no question of what was the situation. They don't even care about the situation. All they know is he had no business taking that bottle and bang right over her head. But if she did it, the first question will be, what did he do? He must have deserved it. What did he do for her to take it there?
you're right about that. I mean, me personally, this is just my personal opinion. Nobody should be putting hands on me but you're absolutely right. If you get into if you see some of these videos and these comments, you're absolutely right. It's always why is he putting hands on a woman? But we don't see the whole picture and we don't know the whole picture.
And most times
But
they don't care.
everybody needs to form some restraints when it comes to
Right,
putting hands on people. But you're right. That part is correct. It's not fair, but it is true.
right. So that's another time when I'm telling you where you see grace
And yes,
comes on.
women grace is given to a woman in that type of situation.
Right.
Absolutely. Yes, it is.
A
But
woman
that
can go,
also
I'm listening, because I'm about to take it to another place. Come on.
go ahead, take it to where you
No,
need to
no.
take
What
it
you
to.
saying? A woman
I
what?
I think that's only because of the of what we're deemed to be, which is a damsel in distress. And we can't fight a man. We can't beat a man.
But you
So
just beat the man when you
even
bust him in the
though
head with the glass.
that's a weapon,
Right. But if
it's a weapon. You're
a man went
protecting
down,
yourself.
a man went down on the ground and he gets busted in the head. He gets busted in the head with that glass. Bang. He's down. Right. He gets
Hmm.
up. He gets up and shows restraint. Right. You hear very
Okay.
little conversation about him showing restraint, but you hear more conversation of what he must have did be deserved to deserve that, right?
Yes, that is true. And I'm not saying that it's not true because it happens all the time.
Right.
And that's just how society. I'm just saying that I'm basing it off of the fact of how people look, how society looks at women compared to how men are looked at.
Right. Okay, so let's go here. Let's stay on the thug lifestyle, right? You have a man, you have a woman who is a habitual, who is a professional criminal, right? She's in and out of jail
hmm
for crimes, right?
hmm Women get lesser jail time than men do.
Right. Right. Thank you. So this is what I'm saying. Grace is given, and even for people on the outside who are looking, right? They will look for they purposely look for her story, or put together or some type of sympathy story for you to understand what pushed her into a place of criminal into this place of criminal lifestyle. Oh, you got to understand where she came from. She was raised up on here, or she was raised there, or any other thing. You look at these things, and you you look at all of these different reasonings for why this woman has gone into a life of crime. Now take that same woman and turn her into a man. He's going to spend more
hmm
time in jail,
Absolutely.
and no one cares about his story.
hmm
No one's talking about why he's been pushed into a life of crime. No one cares about the fact that his mama didn't hug him, that he wasn't breastfed, that
he doesn't get the same empathy as a woman does.
right. So once again,
hmm
we see where grace in society is given more to the woman than it is given to the man. Now, like I said, there are situational things, right? Uh
hmm
in in the corporate world, a man may be able to a man can sleep his way up the ladder.
hmm
He can sleep his way up the ladder. He can sleep with men and women
hmm
to corporately get up that ladder, and to make the money he needs to make, and gain the power that he needs to gain, and be respected. Where a woman who does the same thing will be disrespected. A man found cheating will be forgiven quicker by society, not by the person who he cheated on, but quicker by society than a woman who did the same thing. So that's why I say it's situational. In some places, in some arenas, women may in some arenas, women may see the lion's share of grace. But every once in a while, the men gets thrown a bone.
They get thrown a bone.
Yes. So they'll get so they'll get grace. People will offer them grace. Well, they'll give them reasonings and all this stuff. As it used to be said, your mama black, somebody hurt you, all those reasonings they will give to men for why they do certain things. And it will be understood, and it will be accepted.
Well, I ain't gonna say it would be accepted, but it would be understood.
It will be accepted. It'll be accepted. Men are going to be men. It could be so much worse. You hear all these things. You hear all these pieces. These This is the stuff that come out. So you hear these things and you say, "Oh, okay." Now the person who's on the other end, who is being cheated on, don't won't feel like hearing that nonsense, or won't be in a place of forgiveness. But the people around them, society itself, will forgive a man quicker for infidelity than a woman. And do not let And the only time you see that gets flipped around is if a man produces a baby
Oh,
out of
the
that
break
infidelity.
baby.
If a man produces a child out of that infidelity, that's the only time that they have a harder time with forgiveness than women.
I can agree with that. Yeah, 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 yeah. On the break babies, and that your situations are very accurate. I'm not gonna sit up here and be like, oh no, da 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 da. Da. No, because any other time, I probably would go toe to toe. And, and be on the on the side of my girls. But you're absolutely right. When it comes to certain situations, women do get more grace than men. And then in other situations, I do believe men get more grace than women.
But I'm trying to figure out where's the other situations because it's only infidelities that I've just come across right now.
That's because y'all keep trying to find the bad in
No, because I'm trying to
us.
let me let me ask you this: depend? Does empathy depend on attractiveness, status, gender, or usefulness?
Wait, say that again.
Does empathy depend on attractiveness,
Does empathy,
status,
uh-huh,
gender, or how useful a person is?
whether or not they get grace?
Yeah, if they give it grace or empathy, which one does it
Why
depend more on?
why would it have to depend on any of that?
But it does. Cute children and beautiful mothers get more access to resources quicker than someone who's less attractive. They get treated. The treatment is even treated better. So I do believe that empathy depends more on attractiveness.
Mm-mm. No, because
Go
then
into
that's
a
not empathy.
go into go into a let's close our eyes and go to a magical place. Okay?
But that's not empathy.
Let's close our eyes and go to a magical place. That magical place that we're going to go to, right? You are you are an attractive middle-aged woman. You're dressed nice, you smell good. You're there with your child, right? When you go in, people are going to be way more attentive to you. Literally, they're going to be way more attentive to you because of how you present yourself than if you showed up with one eye closed, bumps all on your face, missing teeth.
Why you gotta always take it to the most dramatic part, the most dramatic piece? Like,
Because I'm just saying, because I don't want to, because I don't believe that God creates anything ugly, right? There's something attractive about every person. That's some because beauty's in the behind of the beholder. So I'm trying to come up with unattractive things, right? You got bumps and warts. Um, you got bumps and warts on your face. Your eyes closed shut. You're missing your two. You're missing your top two teeth, and your canines are missing. Right? You walk into a store or walk into a facility, they're gonna shoo you in and shoo you away from them as quickly as possible compared to someone who is dressed nicely, smells good, and is attractive.
Okay.
I don't know what a middle age is. I just that's the term I've heard. Like you're a middle aged woman. I don't know what middle age because I don't give me. I'm not. I don't want that. I don't want the problems.
But doesn't that? But I think that just goes both ways. Like,
A man can walk into a man can walk into a place to get help, and people will automatically feel like he doesn't belong there because he should be looking for. While I'm sitting here waiting for food stamps, I should be outside looking for a job.
mhm, everybody that's in their office should be out there looking for a job unless you're disabled. But
When you
that's
walk into
that's either
when you
here or
walk
there.
into a place of resource, that's where the mindset is. So they're gonna a woman can spend the day at to get those resources, and nobody would think twice about it. But a man sitting in that waiting area, waiting to go upstairs or go into that other room, people are looking at him like while he's sitting here, he could be somewhere looking for a job.
You could, just
There
like she.
he's being branded as lazy,
Yeah, lazy.
but that same woman, she can sit there until they close and come back in the morning. She can know the officer who works, the security who works there. She can know him by first name.
Mm-hmm. Because she been there a lot.
Right. So society
But it
allows for this more. Like I said, it's a it's definitely by situation. It's a situational
okay.
thing.
So
But
let's take it this way. I'm just gonna switch it up a little bit. Parenting.
okay.
Who you feel as though gets more grace when it comes to parenting? Does a woman get more grace, or does a man get more grace when it comes to
And
when it
and
comes to
that's a good
parenting?
one. That's a good one. I think fathers get more grace than mothers.
Okay.
That's a good one. Fathers get
I
way
want.
more grace than a mother. A father, if a single father can walk into a school and be and he can go and say, "Hey, listen, I wanted to be at back to school night, but I couldn't be there. I had to work. Blah blah blah," and educators will be more understanding of that father than if a mother showed up and said, "Hey, I wanted to be there, but I couldn't be there because I had to work." Blah 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 blah.
Okay.
So I do
I just
agree.
want. Yeah, because women are more deemed to be, as I call us the managers. We're the managers of the household. We are the ones that are supposed to be taking care of all of that stuff. Whereas when they see a man doing it, it's like, oh, he has his child. Like that's like applause. But us, you see, it's like, oh, she ain't got her kids today. Like, where your child at? So I that y'all choose what, Ray? Um, so I believe in that type of situation, I do believe
Hmm.
men get more grace than women do. That's a different type of situation, but there you go.
I agree. But that's why I said society.
Whether it's a Ray, whether it's a two parent household or if it's a single family household, women, men still get more grace than women in that aspect. It really because the men aren't, because you really don't, people just, society believes that men, even though men do a lot with their children and are good fathers, um in society world, the way men are looked at and deemed is not always in a great light. So when people out in the world see men with their kids and they got the little baby pack on their chest and they doing this and doing that with their kids, it's like, oh my God, look, you know. But for us, if we go out one day without our kid, it's like, oh, you ain't got your kids today? Where the kids at? We don't get that same you don't get that same grace when it comes to that. I th- Ivy says I think we all look all the same way. Everyone has same issues, but does that matter? No. You see me, I see you. Balance. So yeah. So if okay, so let's go into the battlefield of love and family, dating breakups, and we already done touched on the parenting part. And Derek, you brought up the cheating, whereas men can be forgiven, men get more grace than women when it comes to cheating. But who gets more grace when the relationship breaks up? When it's time for the relationship to end, who gets that grace? Is it us or
Women,
is it them?
women get more grace.
Why you say that so fast?
Women get more grace. Women get more grace. We're not even gonna do that. Let's not. Let's not. That's. I don't even know why you. I don't even know why you asked that with a straight face.
I don't know why you answered this so fast. Ivory says men definitely get more grace. Yes, yes, cousin. I was trying to make light of the situation here. Oh man, that was funny.
Roshan said Beasley just did an interview where if the dad gets called, he says, "Listen to your mother. Tell your mom the food is good. Don't respect your mom. Dad may get a bit. Dad may get it, but not at the same rate." Um,
Um, mm,
a man, a man, if a woman breaks up with a man and word gets out, let's say that woman is, oh wow, let's say that woman is like likable, or she is known, or whatever, for whatever, right? If she is take I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. If she breaks up with a man, then the first question is going to say, what did he do
mhm.
to make that good woman walk away from him? But if a man walks away from a woman, most people are going to say, good, he didn't deserve her anyway.
That's how you feel.
That's just what it is.
I don't think so.
When I went through
I
my
I
divorce,
think I think. Uh huh.
when I went through my divorce, I heard every rumor about every possible rumor that could have came out about me. I heard about that I was cheating. I heard all the different infidelities. I had another baby with someone else. I heard so much stuff that was so far from the truth because society wants to look at the man as he's capable of just doing and looking for horrible things that a man will do, and but they don't hold women to that whole mindset, same mindset of that they would do horrible things in a relationship.
Now, see, I don't agree with that because I think society does and understands because whether you a woman or a man, we both know that men do jacked up stuff, and we all know women do jacked up stuff. We all know women cheat. We all know men cheat.
But it's the expectation.
We just don't know the situation in which y'all may have caught it splits. But that also comes with accountability when it comes to those breakup relationships and this and that, because everybody, you're gonna get one person, you're gonna get one side of this person's story, you're gonna get the other person's side of that same story. Neither one of them sides match up, so it just all depends on
No,
who you want to believe or who
but
you it's
I'm not even talking about the story because a lot of the rumors that go around are unfounded and it doesn't even have a story. It don't have a story to it. It's nobody's side. It's what people automatically think automatically from the first jump. Oh, he must have did this, and this.
hmm
And that's where
it's
the
never
issue comes
she.
in at. It's not most times it's not and most times it's not, oh, she is responsible for the breakdown of that relationship or that
Well,
marriage. Is most times is him and he's the reason for it. He did this or he must have did this, he must have did that.
so there's nowhere in between where it's balanced, and it's that's it's balanced
I don't see
where
I don't I don't see a place where we are both where there's equal grounds for society to show grace equally to both sides. There's always going to be on the pendulum. There's always going to be a someone is getting or receiving more grace than the other person.
and nowhere in in that it has to be a him or her type of thing the where it is a thing where it takes two people to break up a relationship, of the breakdown of the relationship. Don't that take two?
Yeah, it takes two. But for the I'm
So
not talking about the two people who may agree that it takes two. I'm talking about society as a whole.
I'm talking about society too.
Society as
I'm
a
talking about
whole,
society as well.
society as a whole will look more towards the man who has
The
done
pointing of the
something
finger.
right to point the finger of the man as a source of the breakdown. You will see that more coming from society will point more towards the man for the breakdown than for the women, than for a woman. And I think that's why when a woman is found to be found in the midst of infidelity, it's harder for them to be forgiven because more people are appalled that they would even do something like that.
Ray says if a man goes to two of his kids and asks for help, no one will. So because he is a man, I think all of that just comes with a gender role.
Sean, you're right.
That's
That's what we spoke about that earlier. We spoke about that women gets less charges in court, and we didn't even touch Christmas.
Who?
I said we didn't even touch Christmas. Like
Why we gotta touch? What's
resources are readily available for children, mothers, and children.
it's yes, it is a lot of resources for mothers and children, and
Especially
and
around
and
Christmas time.
it's a lot of resources for mothers and children. That's a given.
Listen,
And that's something that I'm not even gonna argue about because that is actual and
right?
factual.
And
Yes, there are a
I'm even
lot
talking
of
about the.
resources for mothers and children.
I'm
A
talking about
lot.
gifts. I'm talking about even gifts. Listen, uh, Hearts of Hannah is an amazing organization that that gives out gifts, and especially around Christmas time they have they allow you to create allow for the kids to create a Santa's list that they give out to their providers, and their providers buy the things that the kids ask for, right? They ask the mothers, what would you like? And the mothers would do the same thing. The mothers write the list, and somebody will buy the gifts for the moms, right? I never got asked for a list for dads. But when I open my gift, is most of the time when I open my gifts is a tool set, a barbecue set. So it's something that I can do labor with. I can labor with while everybody else get all the stuff that they can just chill and relax with. So even we did. That's why I said we didn't even touch.
I think that those type of resources that you're speaking of, I think it is for both men and women. I just
The,
think that sometimes men, I'm just let me finish. I think that sometimes men just don't take those resources because of, I'm not gonna say they're prideful. I just don't think men tap into those resources the way that women tap into the resources. Especially a woman, especially women with children. Because you can still have a man that's a single father with kids and needs help, and those resources are still there for them. They just have to be the ones to go out and get them. So I do think that there is a kind of a balance, but you have to be the one to go out there and get those resources the same way.
I don't agree. I don't agree because what was I think it was 2 Christmases ago. Um, it was there was a rough season, and I was looking for organizations to help me to acquire presents for my children, and there literally were no organizations available for men. All the organizations, their job, their job or their focus were women and children.
It was that the was is it that when they say, okay, like you said for Christmas, right? And they're giving out gifts and things like that and make the list and this and that. Is it the assumption that it's just for mothers and children? Does it or does it say for families? Or does it have to say for mothers with children, fathers with like is that where the misconception is coming from? Because it's there.
What do you mean is there?
It's there. Even if you because a lot of people just when things like that are there or come about, or even the resources that are there, and even though society may focus and say, focus and say, okay, these resources are here for mothers and children. Those resources are not there just for mothers with children. They're there for people that need it, not just the woman. It's there for the man as well. You just have to go and get it. And I sometimes do feel like it's a pride thing when it comes to men, because some men are very prideful
I will agree for some men it
and
is a pride thing,
don't
but
want to
it
stand on that line and get this, or you know, be, it's
because
they're prideful.
we don't have time to stand on the line and get things because we have to go to work.
But if you need the help, the same way it's the same way as a woman. If it's a single mother with kids and she may have a job too, she's still gonna get on that line because she need the help.
And everybody around her will understand that um she needs help. But everybody standing around that man is like he needs to be somewhere working or finding him a job.
But he has to stand there
I've
first.
literally heard that with my own ears. I've really literally heard people say he know good and well he could be outside looking for a job instead
Thank
of
you,
sitting up in
Ivory.
here. All right.
Okay, y'all. We had gone over our hour. We have touched on some things, and some things we didn't get to touch on. Like we didn't get to touch on social media and public perception. We didn't get to touch on that. But so, we'll come back to this topic about who gets more grace. But as of right now, we are going to side on Derek. What do you side on, men or women?
I said situational.
Okay, Derek is deciding is situational. My I feel is balanced. So when we come back, I know I'm not gonna say that it's gonna be next Tuesday that we gonna bring this back up, but we will definitely circle back so we can touch on the other topics of where there's more grace given for men or for women. And I definitely want to touch on the social media and public perception. So, but we thank everybody who tuned in tonight. We thank everybody for joining the conversation. Um, we will see y'all again next Tuesday, same time, same place. Ray, give me a call. And I thank everybody for tuning in. Y'all have a great night. Love, peace, and blessings.